What up, what up? This Finance, Fitness, and Folk channel. We discuss finance, a little bit of fitness, talk about some folk. So on today's episode, I'm going to discuss how consistency will build you financial success. So admin notes, thanks again to all the subscribe to the channel. I'm there to keep putting these videos out, give you leverage to better yourselves. So let's get into it. So why do I say that consistency will build you financial success? I'm gonna give a quick example. I just want to get on the channel right quick and tell you guys about this. I think I had mentioned this before on the channel, but I wanted to give you an example as far as how consistency can really help you move towards success. So I explained on the channel a while back on one video where I was a tennis player when I was in high school, right? And didn't start playing tennis till I got to high school. And that first year, I've always been somewhat athletic to a certain degree, but there was some other sports that I tried out and wasn't too good at it. I mean, I was decent enough, but I wasn't decent enough to make the teams for them, right? I come from a high school that was, and I'm not saying this to be biased or to be like profiling people or anything, whatever, but I was in a school that was more than 90% black. I'm from the projects. More than half of the school population was from the projects, and all we did over and over again, time and time again, was play basketball, football, and if you wasn't nice, if you wasn't a person that was like exceptional at those sports, you wasn't making that team. There was no such thing as mediocrity when it came to those sports. And the football team and the basketball team in my high school actually was always in the playoffs. It was winning the districts like almost every single year for the last 15 years at that time. So like I said, if you wasn't like a LeBron or something, you just won't making that team, right? So I picked up tennis because I had really acquired an affinity for Andre Agassi and seeing how he played, and always wanted to play tennis. So anyways, moving forward, I wasn't that great. I had my mom buy me a racket from the store, and I started practicing on my own. And then I made the team because there wasn't a lot of folks my skin color playing tennis during that time in that school, right? But here's where things gets real interesting. So the season ends, and I played that first season, and like I said, I wasn't all that great. I was able to get the ball and play, but I wasn't able to keep a rally going. For those that know how tennis works, like I probably could have. I think at that point I was maybe 5 or 6 rallies at best, and then by the time the 7th one came around, it was over. Like I wasn't going to be able to keep it going. So that summer between my sophomore year and my junior year, when I tell you that I had laser beam focus to get ready for the next season, I mean, like it was crazy. And I remember that summer being like really, really, really hot that summer. That part of Virginia doesn't really get like too abusive when it comes to being hot, but that particular summer was like, it was really hot. Like if I was to post some photos of myself during that time, you could see that I was like, I was a lot darker than what I am now. Like I literally had a permanent tan those 3 months during the summer during that particular year. Like it was like really, really hot. And I was going out to that tennis court from sun up to sundown. And I'm not even kidding you. I was out there all day, every day until the sun went down. And then there was some older gentlemen that would come onto that particular court because that tennis court was one of the most kept up tennis courts around that area. So a lot of the old heads, I call them old heads, it was like in the late 50s, early 60s, they would come out there and play tennis at night, and I would stay out there even after being out in that court for about 8 hours, and I would hit with them, and they would show me pointers and all these other things, right? But I stayed so consistent with that. Like I was, like I said, all day, every day I was out there, and I would bring enough water or Gatorade to keep me hydrated. But that sun was not bothering me because I just had a mentality that I was going to make sure that I was going to be the best player that I could be by the time the next season came around, and I wanted to be that. And lo and behold, when the next season came around, I actually played number 2 and number 1 seed after not being seeded at all the season before. So, in saying that, how focused and how and how determined I was, to be the best player I could be, and to be like one of the best players on that team. Now, mind you, you had other players on that team that had been playing tennis for years. I had only been playing for tennis like a little bit over a year by that time. And by the time I got back to the next season, because the season for tennis was towards the end of the school year. So, I practiced that summer, and then I had literally all fall and all of winter. I was still outside during the winter time, still playing, right? Because there was no indoor court that I could play on. Whether it was windy, raining, it did not matter. I was out there. And by the time the spring came around, I was, it was by that time. It was time for me to go ahead and execute, and I was able to be, top 3, top 2 player during that time. So I say all this to say that when it comes to being consistent with your finances, you need to be pretty much like as focused as I was when I was trying to learn how to play tennis. Like, I mean, you just need to do that. There's no other way of getting around that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know about money, if you don't know about how finances work, if you don't know how your finances is going to work out for you in the long run, you need to be able to put yourself in position where you do know. Take some classes, get a mentor, do your own research, do everything you can to be financially successful and be consistent with it. You know what I'm saying? Every day you should be immersed in that. Because, as long as you're consistent, the universe is going to react to your consistency. It just is, and that's how I believe it was with tennis for me. Because, like I said, I wasn't a horrible tennis player when I first started. I had some athleticism when it came to the sport. So like, it wasn't like I was like awkward and I was hitting the ball all the way across the tennis court, like over the fence. Like it wasn't like that, but to say that I was a decent tennis player was still a pretty strong stretch, especially when I was facing, players that had been playing for years and actually was taught how to play tennis. I literally taught myself how to play tennis. You understand what I'm saying? I willed myself to be a better player. I mean, of course, I had some help when it came to, like I said, the old heads that came out there and played with me, and show me some pointers during the evening time when I was out there. But I had no instruction. I had nobody, showing me ground strokes. Nobody showed me how to hold the racket. Nobody showed me, how to play on hard court. I literally taught myself that by myself at like 15 years old. So, I've taken a mentality with me all my life when it comes to being successful in anything. You know what I'm saying? I've learned over time that being consistent, eventually you're gonna have a breakthrough. You stay consistent in anything you do, you're gonna have a breakthrough. I promise you will. So, all in all, consistency will help you build financial success. So you need to be consistent in your finances. Be consistent in learning how money works. Be consistent in saving. Be consistent in investing. Be consistent in paying bills. Be consistent in trying to find a job that pays more money in order for you to pay bills and be comfortable. Stay consistent. And I promise you, your finances will actually react to that and you'll have a better outcome than if you was inconsistent. All right? Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm there to keep putting this video out. Give you leverage. You better yourselves. Find a fitness and folk. Triple F, I'm gone.